Famke Janssen has found her next major TV project in the form of Netflix's Amsterdam Empire, and she's ready to build its future to some exciting new heights. Having made a name for herself on the big screen with everything from Fox's X-Men franchise as the Marvel heroine Jean Grey to co-starring in the Taken trilogy, Janssen began finding major success on the small screen with the Netflix horror series Hemlock Grove, followed by a recurring turn in How to Get Away with Murder and The Blacklist, leading the short-lived spin-off of the latter. Janssen stars in Amsterdam Empire as Betty, a former pop star and the wife of Dutch coffee shop mogul Jack Van Doorn, who finds her life turned upside down when he asks for a divorce, having fallen in love with a prominent journalist. Not ready to give up on their decades-long relationship easily, Betty begins setting out to claim what she feels is hers, threatening to expose his cannabis selling and other secrets she's privy to. Alongside Janssen, who also executive produces the Sopranos-like crime drama, the Amsterdam Empire cast includes Jacob Derwig as Jack, Elise Schopp, Jade Oliberg and Bart Sledgers. Created by undercover alums Piet Mathies, Nico Muollener and Bart Uitenhouwen, the 7-episode series offers a unique look at the Dutch criminal underworld. In honor of the show's premiere, Screen Rant interviewed Famke Janssen to discuss Amsterdam Empire. The executive producer Star opened up about returning to her home country for her first Danish production, as well as the various new opportunities the show allotted her, including filming a pop music video and designing her costumes, as well as her major hopes for the show's future. There are a lot of things in the works for Amsterdam Empire's future. After lots of back and forth and scheming to get control of the Jackal, Amsterdam Empire ends on an explosive note as Jack, seen in the premiere being gunned down, is revealed to have survived his shooting, but is in a coma. Betty, meanwhile, teams with one of Jack's daughters, Cottier, and his first wife, Shanti, to kill his vindictive business partner, Gijs, and the rest of the Tichelaar family. Betty, however, still intends to use evidence linking Jack to Guido's murder to get control of the Jackal should he come out of his coma. In reflecting on where the series leaves her, Janssen stated that one of the key points of discussion she had with the creators throughout production is that her journey is part of a series. Rather than a film, in which viewers can have a perfect ending wrapped up with a little bow, the EPE star felt it important that while there were lessons Betty learned from the season, that they left just enough room to potentially continue for another season. When asked about said ideas for Amsterdam Empire Season 2, Janssen cautioned that Netflix has a very specific model in how they approach renewing their shows, generally waiting at least 3 weeks to see how the show does before making a decision. However, she affirmed there are a lot of things in the works for the show's future, and it will ultimately come down to its viewership numbers. Betty has far more complexity than just being a villain. When first introduced in the premiere, Betty is shown to be a very vindictive character toward Jack, beginning with her assault of his luxury car with a golf club, as well as her harsh confrontations with the woman Jack is leaving her for, Marjolaine. As the show proceeds, though, we're given a much more layered portrait of the character, with moments of vulnerability making her reaction to the divorce feel just as much about power as it is her genuine heartbreak. Interestingly, some of these layers were not quite there when Janssen was first approached by Muollener. As the star shared, they hadn't written much yet for Amsterdam Empire's characters when they first entered talks. Janssen then expressed that the one thing she didn't want the creative team to do was make her one-note angry, feeling that we've seen that character before in other stories, even though she does understand that kind of character. Who wants to be cheated on publicly, and then have someone impregnate the new girlfriend, Janssen quipped. That's heartbreaking to begin with, and I can understand a lot of anger comes out of that. But I also know a lot of hurt is part of that journey. From very early on, I was part of the development of Betty, just to make sure she was as well-rounded of a character as anyone else, and that we could see that vulnerability any place. She went on to explain that what she's most proud of in this production is that she worked closely with the creative trio to add some other colors to her character that weren't initially on the page. Acknowledging that the key thing she looks for in a project are those moments where I can make my role into a multidimensional character. That means she works doubly hard, as a woman and an actress, to ensure she's adding colors and adding different dimensions to Janssen's parts. This came in really handy, because I thought, I have close to 80 films under my belt, Janssen explained. I've had the experience of knowing what it's like be asked to play characters that I didn't think were as well-rounded, or that were written by men, or just needed some help. It was wonderful that I could put all of my experience to use on this one project. We all love to watch a train wreck, but we have to make sure we identify with her. In reflecting on where Betty's anger lies between power play and genuine hurt, Janssen found she was able to pull a lot from her personal life to help inspire this mix of emotions, acknowledging moments in which there's a lack of control that makes me angry and makes me act out. For her Amsterdam Empire character, she feels this range is very much part of her journey, especially as Betty has always seen herself as a victim in the past. I just thought that was something beautiful, and something that I'm noticing a lot in everyone's lives at the moment, is that we've lived with this sense of victimhood as people, Janssen expressed. That taking responsibility for your own actions, and the consequences that come with them, is a really important part of your journey and your growth. I very much wanted to see that part of her character development. What else we learned from Janssen about Amsterdam Empire? Screen Rant: Amsterdam Empire is an awesome show so far. I'm hooked by the characters, by the world building, all of it. I'd love to hear what it's like to go back to Amsterdam and do a show in that native tongue, compared to all the English language productions you've done, Famke Janssen. It's my first one, and it's odd, because I left Holland when I was about 18 years old, way before I was an actress. I've never actually acted in Dutch before. Over the years, people had offered me roles, and some things had come and gone, but it just wasn't quite the right thing. But I think Netflix was the primary factor here because it allows for an international audience in the way that we wouldn't have had in the past. Also, I think there's no better time to have an international production in a foreign language be viewed by people all over the world. Squid Game changed everything. I think before that, people were reluctant to watch something with subtitles, or they listened to the dub and it wasn't quite the same. Now we're in a really good moment, so I hope that helps Amsterdam Empire a lot. I worked very hard on it, and I played so many different roles on it.